Hi everyone, it's Miss Kennedy again from the Lone Tree 5th grade squad, and I'm teaching you Math Chapter 8, Lesson 8. This is a review lesson. We have already went through this entire chapter and taken the assessment on it. And so what we're doing is we're practicing writing fractions as decimals. And to do that, we're using our knowledge of place value, fractions, and decimals that we've already learned, okay? So this is a review lesson, and we have our mathematical practices. Number 1, I can solve problems without giving up. Number 2, I can think about numbers in many ways. Number 4, I can show my work in many ways. Number 6, I can work carefully and check my work. Number 7, I can use what I know to solve new problems. And finally, number 8, I can solve problems by looking for rules and patterns. So one of the things you must absolutely recall is place value. So the prior knowledge we need to have is place value for 5th grade. You need to know place value actually all the way over on the left side of the place value chart before the decimal, all the way over to millions, although not depicted here. And on the right side of the decimal where the blue arrow is, you need to know after the decimal place, tenths place, hundredths place, and thousandths place. And I always emphasize the THS at the end. That's what helps it stand out from the left side of the place value chart, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Another thing you need to know before starting is equivalent fractions. If you haven't quite been able to practice that and work that out successfully, that's another thing you need to know. In this example, we're going to practice writing 3/4 as an equivalent fraction. There's a note at the bottom of the screen. Make equivalent fractions equal a number over a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000, because those are your decimal places. Your decimal places are tenths, 100ths, and 1,000ths. So when you see a fraction like 3/4, you need to make it equal something over 10, 100, or 1,000. Obviously, 4 is not a factor of 10, so we're not going to make that equal something over 10, but we can make it equal something over 100. And so let's do that. In order to make 3/4 equal something over 100, we have to multiply by 25. 4 times 25 is 100, and I start on the bottom because that's my denominator. I already know I'm going to multiply 4 times 25 to give me 100. Then I multiply that same 25 by the numerator, which is 3, and that's going to give me 75. So now I'm showing a fraction, an equivalent fraction, 3/4 equals 75 100ths. Think about a dollar. A dollar equals 4 quarters, and the value of those quarters is 25 cents. So 3/4 equals 75. So we're showing in kind of an equivalent way that 3/4 equals 75 cents out of $1. Now, Miss Kennedy, how does this equal a fraction? Well, we go back to the place value. Let's keep this in mind, and I'm going to clear up my annotations. 75 100ths. Let's go back here and let's put it in the chart. So I have no ones, okay? But I have 75 hundredths. So 3/4 is equivalent to 75 hundredths. and we wrote that in decimal form. And we read it as 75/100. We don't even have to put the 0 here. We could just write it as the decimal 75, and we read it as 75/100. All right, friends, let's keep going. Let's try another example. So we want to write 1/5 as a decimal. Now, 5 is a powerful number when we're dealing with powers of 10. We can make this equal something over 10. We can make it equal something over 100. We can make it equal something over 1,000. Okay? But for this example, we're going to make it equal something over 10. And so we're looking to put the decimal value right here in this box, in the 10th place, okay? We want it to equal something over 10. So we're gonna make an equivalent fraction, and I start on the bottom. 5 times 2 is 10, because I know that's gonna be my denominator. And I multiply that same 2 in 5 times 2. I multiply the 2 by the numerator. So 1 times 2 is 2. Now I have 2/10. So when I write it, it's either going to look like there's no whole number value, decimal 2, and I read it as 2, that's supposed to be a letter O, tenths. 2/10. And it also could just look like the decimal and the number 2. And so let's write it over here in our place value chart. 1/5 equals 2/10. And so hopefully this was a good refresher for you. Remember, you need to make your fractions into decimals by making a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. Watch this again, watch previous lessons, practice, 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 and complete any work that your teacher assigned. If you have any questions, contact your teacher.